Okay guys, welcome to Street Culture. It's late. It's about 2:30 in the morning and I couldn't sleep, so I was doing some surfing on the internet and about the C8 Corvette here. So for those of you who've been watching the channel, I am not a big fan of the C8 Corvette. Sorry Chevrolet, sorry about that, but no, I'm not sorry. I can't stand the Chevy Corvette. I loved the C7. I did not like the C6 or the C5 or the C4. Actually, I didn't care for any of them below the C7. The C7 was what really changed my view on the Corvette. The C7 was very jagged, very sharp, very stealthy, very nice. They increased the interior. The quality of the interior was much better in the right direction. But when they did this with the exterior of the car, I gotta say I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all. I couldn't even be bothered with looking at it. Yeah, so let's talk about this car. The C8 Corvette, to me, looks very much like a kit car. It's one of the reasons I hate the car. It looks so cheap. There's nothing on it. Looks so plain on the outside and cheap to me. It looks plasticky. Okay, it looks very plasticky. It looks like a bunch of guys threw this together in their garage. Yeah, more on that to come in the next few slides, and I'll talk about that. Okay, the front end, I'm going to start with the front end of the car, then I'm going to go to the interior, and then the back end. The front end, I don't like it. Have I said that enough yet? The air intakes in the front here, they look very, I don't know, cheesy, very cheap looking. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's too much. I don't know why they even have that like that. The design on the front for the air to come in and cool, I guess you say everything out and push to the, I just don't like it. They could have done better here. I don't know why they left this gaping hole here. It just doesn't look right. And then they made the nose come down like this, where you have this big flat piece, and then it just looks like it's not, it doesn't look like it's finished down here. It's like I said, they kind of half-stepped with it, and they kind of rushed it. I don't know. Also, these tires here and these wheels, very flat-faced. They could have been better with like some deep dish or some concave looking wheels that you've seen on like some of the other cars, like your Challengers and your Chargers and things of that nature. Anything foreign for sure. But these are very flat, very cheap looking wheels on the base and all the way up to their expensive models. They just look cheap to me. I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to do here, but it doesn't. Hopefully they have something for the next version or the next generation of this model in store. I'm hoping, but honestly, I don't see it happening. The ridge along the door here, and then another bottom ridge here, it just doesn't look, like it belongs there, like it's out of place. And then when you look at the rest of the body lines on the car, it kind of drops back, but then it brings all this big chunk back here, and you're kind of wondering, like, why wouldn't they just drop it back and let the air drop off? Why did they have to feel the need like to take it up higher and put that big rear quarter on the back? Something about it to me just doesn't seem like they should have done it that way. Not to mention, and I hate to say this, but all of these ridges over the wheel wells, do we really need that 2 inches in there? Here, I'm going to zoom in, guys, so you can see what I'm talking about a little bit better. But do we really need this part here? And I don't know if this is a very good photo to show it, but we have, like, I don't know, let me see here. Yeah, I think you can see it a little bit there. But we have this, and a lot of cars today have this. They have this little ridge that, like, kind of goes 2 inches around. It goes 2 inches around the wheel well, and it just doesn't look right. It looks so cheesy. It looks like one of those kids' cars or those little Power Wheels or something. I don't know. So let's go back and drop that. Let's move here. Maybe you can see it a little better here. Yes, we can see it a little better here. Let's zoom in. Right here in particular, you have that 2-inch ridge that goes above the wheel well, both here and on the back end too. It just, like I said, guys, it looks really kiddie. It looks cheap. So let's go back here. There we go. So this is a little different. They added a better spoiler, or I'm sorry, front splitter on the front here, and the rear spoiler is a little bit better, but it's not much better. It still doesn't look like it belongs. Plus, it makes the back end look very boxy. From the bottom here to the top here, it looks very square all the way across the back, and it just looks too chunky. They didn't really do much. They put a couple stripes here and a couple stripes here. But what they should have done is, like I said, try to make it look a little more finished. And it doesn't look like that here. So let's move on to what I found on the internet. This is the Motor Trend version of what the Z06 could look like. And it could look like. I found this on the internet, and there's a few things they changed. They changed right here the carbon fiber along the bottom of the rocker panel, and they made it a little bit more thicker and more further away from the door, so that was kind of nice. They hit a home run, if you ask me, by putting these vents here that are similar to the Porsche GT3 RS vents above the wheel well, and you can see those when I zoom in here. You can see the vents right here. Much, much nicer. I really like that. I feel that the Corvette needs that there to kind of break up the panel a little bit. So let's go back to the back of the car. The back of the car has this spoiler back here that is similar to what I call a Koenigsegg one, where it has the two pillars going out the back, and you can see them right here, and they drop down, and then you have the spoiler resting on top of that, or the wing. It looks really nice, but it could be done better, and we'll get to that in a second. One of the things about the wheels is they're concaved. I really like that, so it gives it more depth, and of course they still use the square tires back here. I don't know why, but it looks really cheap. But that's all they did. They still left the front end open, and the only difference is they painted this panel a little bit black, so you can't see the difference in there, but it really doesn't look much different than the previous picture, and I just don't like the front end at all. So let's move on. Here's a back end view of the car. Here's that fender venting I was talking about before. Let me see if I can zoom in there. There we go. That might be a little bit better. Let me see if I can do that. Okay, so the venting here on the rear, on the rear side of the fender, that looks a lot better, but I don't like the way it kind of creates this look going on where this is open here and this is open here. I don't like this air intake being here. It's just, for me, it doesn't serve a purpose other than, yeah, okay, maybe it does suck some air in there to cool off the car, but I don't really care for it. So let's go back further back here. The air intakes, yeah, it makes a big chunky gigantic rear quarter panel, and they did break it up a little bit by removing the factory spoiler back here. So the factory spoiler would be like this much taller, and it would make the back end look super chunky, but they got rid of it, and then they put these arms back here. Like I said, they look similar to Koenigsegg. They look like Koenigsegg rear pillar arms for the spoiler or the wing. And then what they did is they put a rear diffuser on the back here, and they kind of made the back end stop, because instead of dropping it all the way back here, they kind of shortened it, which is good because the back end does look too chunky, but they put a rear diffuser back here, and it just adds to the bricky boxiness of the back end. It just doesn't, like I said, it looks more like a kit car, or more like a bunch of kids put together a race car to go out on the weekend. It looks ricey, okay? Instead of what a supercar or hypercar should look like. So let's talk about one other thing that I cannot stand, and I mean I cannot stand at all about the Corvette, okay? And that's these right here. These dual pipes on each side spread all the way out to the end. I don't know why they did that. To me, I've seen it on the Lamborghini Huracan. I don't even like it on the Huracan. I actually prefer the Performante exhaust out the center. When you put all that, you're putting the heat and everything closer to the tires, you're putting the heat closer to the brakes, and then on top of that, it just looks cheesy. Okay, it looks really cheesy. It looks Hot Wheels-ish, and to me, when a car looks like a Hot Wheels car, it's junk. Okay, I don't know why they did that. I don't like it. Also, the air intake, or the air exhaust for letting the heat and everything out, they went ahead and they put this long open piece in the back here, but it doesn't look right because it still looks rectangular and bricky. So I don't know. It looks very, I don't know if that's a word, bricky, but it looks like a brick, a long brick, and it just doesn't fit the back of the car. Also, these taillights, I hate these taillights because they're very similar to something else we've seen, and we'll get to that. But for the price, they could have done better. So let's move on. All right, there we go. There we go. So like I said before, they got rid of this spoiler here, right? Let me zoom in on this again here, guys. Okay, so they got rid of this spoiler here, and you can see how tall it looks in the back here. From down here, actually from right about there, all the way up to here, you can see how tall that is. That's very, very tall for the back end, and this adds another 3-4 inches to that illusion. Instead of the car dropping off in the back, you have this, it just, I don't know, to me, given the angle, they're trying to make it look better and more appealing because that's what professional photographers do. But again, I don't like the chunkiness, I don't like the exhaust, I don't like these air and exhaust outlets and all that stuff, and it just doesn't look right to me. It really doesn't. So let's move to the next photo. All right, so this is the Corvette. This is the Corvette C8 when it debuted. Okay, let's get that off the screen. There we go. And the front end looks very, very eagle-ish or bird-like. Okay, it looks very eagle-ish and very bird-like. The intakes here on for the air, and then all this looks open, and you see how it kind of comes out like this, but it looks too wide and too open. Like I said, like I really feel like this design screams I was rushed. It feels like, okay, we just kicked it out to make a product. We have the answer. We promised to put this out, and we didn't take our time to do it. Plus, I feel like the design team has way too much influence from the older cars. So I really don't think that they are in tune with what's coming or what is about to be coming in the immediate future for design. I think they're lost, honestly. I think Chevrolet should just fire them all and get entirely new design team together to work on the second version of this body style, to improve upon it for the Z06 and for the second version of this, especially if they're going to that that flat pane or whatever they're talking about, the Corvette C8R race car engine. If they do that, they definitely have to up their game with the exterior here, because it's not going to link. Yeah, it sounds great and everything, but this is not going to match. If they put that engine, it's not going to match the exoticness and the performance. I don't know. So let's move on. First of all, before I move on, this design, I've seen this before, and we're going to get to that. So this whole front end, I have seen this design before, and I'm going to show you. Boom. I've seen it before on this car. Notice the squinty headlights or squinty eyes of the car, and then you have this big beaky open mouth here. You can see the same thing on this car. Big beaky open mouth, squinty eyes, a lot like a bird. And then you have that big gigantic side air intakes. You have the same thing here, and they're relatively in the same position. They're relatively in the same design pattern, which is amazing to me. Now, coincidentally, I've been talking about birds and this looking like a bird design. This car is actually called the Falcon F7. Falcon Motorsports put this car together. It's a bunch of the Dodge Viper guys that when they killed the Viper project, they said, you know what, let's go work on something of our own. And literally, like I said earlier in the video, 10 to 15 guys got together and they put this car together in their own shop. It's up in Holly, Michigan, and they made their own little motor company up there, and this is what they're doing now. But even these guys did all the right things. Big brake kit, concave wheels. These are from, I think they're forged wheels or something like that, but these are concave wheels. They're not flat-faced. You can see there's depth to them, especially when you go to the back of the car. You can see that there's depth. There's rim lip here, and it just looks more sharp, more tight, more elite. Anyway, it looks more exotic. Now they did source a few parts, like they sourced this mirror here from the Corvette C6, I think it was. Yeah, this was the C6 mirror. So they sourced that, and they had a few of their own designs, design influences on this car that were kind of cool. Like they had this big, huge air intake up here. Big, huge air intake, and then all that heat and everything. I think they run the radiators up here. It gets pushed out and it goes and blows right out the top, similar to the Shelby concept car of the early 90s and stuff like that. I think it was called the Series 1. But lots of air pushed out the top. It looks really, really cool. And this was its own unique design. That's what I think is really nice with Falcon. And then over here on the sides, which you can see, there we go. I'm going to see if I can zoom it in between the two cameras here. And you can see they did do a ridge here in the door. Very similar to the Chevy Corvette. Congratulations, Chevrolet. You didn't have an original idea. This car debuted back in, I think, 2014 at the International Auto Show in Detroit, and it lit the entire Detroit auto scene on fire, okay? So they had this ridge here, so does the Chevy Corvette, and then they had this one down here. Oh wait, so does the Chevy Corvette. So yeah, again, how about getting an original design, Chevy? All right, so let's move on, because I can only cry about this so much. Here's the interior. Here's the interior of the Chevrolet Corvette, okay? Now, one of the interesting things about this is that it's not original. And we're going to get to that in a second. So everybody's raving about this interior because it has this big, nice, huge ridge in the center that separates you from the passenger, and it makes it all driver focused and blah, 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 blah. That's what they were talking about. They got this goofy ass, pardon my French, goofy looking steering wheel, and then they have a touch screen here, and they have, you know, a couple other driver features that are supposed to make it more driver focused. Okay, Chevrolet, you said this is your upgrade. You said that this is what you guys were trying to focus on. This is what you put together, right? Wrong. Let's go to the next photo, shall we? Boom. Oh, look at that. What is that? Oh, that's the interior for the Falcon F7. And oh, there we go. Look at that big ridge here. Notice this big ridge here? Yeah, I do. All those buttons that were in the Chevy Corvette, this ridge here is the exact same ridge as the Chevy Corvette. And you know what's funny? Is these guys with Falcon Motorsports did it 5 years sooner. All right, even the color tones here are the same, guys. Let's look at this. Even the color tones. There's the brown. Let's go back a couple photos. Oh, look. They have brown in the center. The seats are two-toned, and they even have it up here in the dash area. Let's go back to the Falcon. Oh, look. Brown in the seats. Brown up in the center console here, going up that ridge, and even up in the dash and everything. They did the same thing. Chevrolet did the same thing as Falcon did 4 or 5 years ago. Now let's go back to the Chevy Corvette, because there's something even cooler here, all right? Oh, wrong way. All right, so here you can see in the Chevy Corvette, look at the door pockets. So they put all the you can see all the brown here, like I said, on the dash, and then they put silver in the door pocket area here, or in where you'd have to latch. They put the silver there, that brushed aluminum, okay? So let's go back to the Falcon, all right? Look at the same thing. Of course, the design is a little older, but you can see they put silver in the same area as the Chevy Corvette. Again, Chevrolet didn't have an original idea. They took something else somebody else did already, or something else that somebody else did. Sorry guys, it's almost 3 in the morning, I'm super tired. And they said that they made it, you know, they said they made it an original design, and they didn't, okay? Is it really, they took somebody else's idea, they improved upon it, and now they're calling it their own. Congratulations, Chevrolet. You are now the rap artist of the automotive community, taking something else from somebody and trying to make it your own. All right, so let's go back. All right, so here's the Chevy Corvette interior yet again. And as you can see on this side of the driver's, on the steering wheel, you can see that they have their touchscreen here. Well, okay, let's go to the Falcon F7. You can't see it here, but you can see it here. Here's the touchscreen, and it even has their Falcon Motorsports logo on here, right next to the steering wheel. Very much driver-oriented, separates the passenger side from the driver's side, and makes it all driver-focused. This was done in 2014. Same thing. Guys, are we starting to see a trend here? Yeah, okay, the Chevy Corvette is $60,000, goes 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds or 3.0 seconds. Yeah, bang for the buck, it's great. But honestly, you got something that is a secondhand knockoff from a company that started on its own in 2014 with the debut of this car, and Chevrolet, all they did was copycatted it. And on top of that, everybody's going to have one of these Corvettes. Let's keep going. Let's look at the back end. I hate the spoiler. I've said it a gazillion times before. I hate the spoiler, I hate the taillights, I hate the freaking exhaust. Why? Why? Well, I'll tell you why. For $60,000 as the base model and $85,000 going up for the packages, why is my super awesome Corvette gonna look like this Camaro? Notice the same type of spoiler, the same type of taillights, and the same type of exhaust. Four freaking pipes, 2 on this side, 2 on this side, and the same doggone taillights and spoiler. Look at the body lines on here, on the ridge for the quarter panels. Notice something? Yeah, I do. They look the same as the body lines and ridges on the Corvette. To me, that's just too similar in design on the back end. I wouldn't want to buy a Corvette if it looks like a Camaro, honestly. One of the things, though, that I will say, I do have to say I like, is this design here. And this is the only reason that I like the Corvette C8 now, because of this design. If the designer of this car here, and his name I'll give you at the end of this video, was to be employed by Chevrolet, by the way, you should be listening Chevrolet, this is what it would be. He gets rid of all of this. He opens up the intake on the front end, he makes it all one piece, incorporates some honeycombs. It looks very, very sharp, very nice, and then he does this with the front end, which gives it the knife edge look, and he opens up the splitter with 4 air intakes on the bottom to push that air underneath the car. It looks amazing. He also makes the front end wider big time. It includes ridges going over here, and it drops off the back, so you have the wide body look on this car. It's so amazing. Here you can see a little bit better view of it. And there's the 4 ridges I was talking about, 2 on each side to split that up. The hood has sharper edges in the center here to push that air over the car and really knife into it. You have these gigantic ridges over the top here that drop off the back. They make it wider, more aggressive looking. And one of the cool parts about this is the split spoiler on the back here. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's very Ferrari FXX looking, hypercar, supercar looking. And then of course they did the wide body kit as well, so it looks so much more aggressive. Let's go back here to the next one. On this photo you can see a little bit better the split on the spoiler. All that air travels down and it narrows the back end. It doesn't look as chunky. Also on the bottom edge of the lower valance slash I guess you should say diffuser area, you have these jets coming out, and then you have your 4 finned diffusers on this side, and you have they move the exhaust. You have a very long, wide exhaust pipe in the back that's split down the center for 2, and it just looks so nice. Also, you can see that the wheels are just a little oversized for me. They should probably drop it down by 1 inch, and that would increase the functionality of it. But overall, it looks so nice. All right, here's another view, and you can see it a little bit better when I'm talking about. There's that exhaust I was telling you guys about, and it looks so cherry, right? It looks so cherry compared to that nasty 2-pipe setup they have there. Also, you can see what they did with the quarter panel to knock off all that big bulkiness. They dropped a fin down here. They cut it off, they dropped a fin down here, and then it just kind of adds to the look of the car. It looks finished. It looks very, very exotic, very, very sharp. Very sexy. Yeah, we still have those tail lights in there, but they did a slight change to it, and it makes it look sexier. The spoiler, you can see, definitely splits up the body, and it makes the back end narrow, so the air looks like it's going like this, completing, instead of just going into a big gigantic square in the back. It kind of looks like it's closing off and letting the air travel and meet in the back. So very, very nicely done. Well done. You can also see on this photo the front fenders that I was telling you guys about. You can see how wide they are. They're like 2 inches wider, and they drop in the back, and it has all the airflow coming out, and it gives the appearance of a much more aggressive vehicle. And in fact, it looks like it could take off and go into space, but it actually it actually won't. There's a lot of downforce involved with this, and the guy that designed this is this fella here. And this is his Instagram, guys. I took a picture of this. His name is Karan Adivi. I think that's correct. I'm not sure. There we go. All right. I don't know why. Maybe it's too close. There we go. So okay. So this is his Instagram. Chevrolet. I really think you guys need to get a hold of this fella here, and you need to reach out to him and bring him on board, because I'll tell you, he's doing the car justice. Okay. Your team, Okay, they had a decent time playing with a concept that came out in 2014, but if you want to take it to the next level, I think you should get a hold of this guy. All right, he says here that you can drop him a DM for commissions and inquiries because he changes cars. So I'm wondering if I had a Corvette C8, if he could actually do what he designed to my car and make it functional as well as of quality. I think he could with the right corporation behind him, Chevrolet. So to do it by himself, of course there's going to be build quality and stuff like that. I don't know who he works for, but this is pretty amazing. Amazing stuff. So I went ahead and, like I said, guys, I posted this car. Let's see if I can, there we go. I posted this car to my Instagram to let everybody know that this is how Chevrolet should have done it, okay? You can see that the car just looks so much more chic than the current C8 Corvette. This looks amazing. The wheel might be about an inch too big on the front and rear, but everything else is on point. I mean on point. This is how Chevrolet should have done it. With that being said, I hope you liked this video. I hope you like the content that I covered, and I hope you either agree or disagree with my video and let me know. Okay, spread the word, guys. I'm trying to grow a YouTube channel here. I only think I have 130 followers, but with your help, I know we can go up. So that being said, I thoroughly enjoyed sharing this with you guys. I hope that Chevrolet was paying attention on this one. In fact, I'm gonna put a tag on there, so hopefully they'll pick it up. But they got to get a hold of this guy because this dude is on fire. Seriously, this dude's on fire. So anyway, this is the only reason I like the Chevrolet Corvette. Otherwise, I've given you all the reasons why I hate this car. Until Chevrolet decides to hire this guy and make this their new design, I'm not going to buy one, and I hope you don't either, because truthfully, it ain't worth the money, honestly. So that being said, this is George from StreetCulture.US. It is 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm super tired, and I'll see you guys on the road.